you cannot miss on the Bitcoin conference in Lugano.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
So official title is actually Chief of Propaganda at Brains. I'm not making this up. Generally, I lead marketing at Brains. I'm in charge of marketing, business, etc. But my official title is Chief of Propaganda, and we do a lot of tools for Bitcoin miners. So our clients are miners all around the world, and we provide from software tools to hardware tools to the Bitcoin miners.
What do you think of Bitcoin as a brand without a marketing team?
And that's the point, yeah. That's the beauty of it. Hey, we wanted decentralized money, so we cannot have a centralized propaganda office for Bitcoin, no? So, no, I really love it because the incentives of Bitcoin work so magnificently. Like we all work for Bitcoin, but there is no central, on all levels, it including the marketing. So it just proves, hey, Bitcoin actually works because it's extremely strong brand. We have a extremely big army of like the supporters and marketers and etc. But nobody works for Bitcoin. Like nobody is employed by the Bitcoin company, but it still works. You have conferences, you have new content being made. We have a lot of Bitcoin books, literature, education, and all of it is happening without central planner. So I love it. I love it that the Bitcoin marketing works. The brand is getting stronger every day, but without any central planner. So I'm very happy it works.
Would you say that Bitcoin doesn't need marketing, but Bitcoin companies do?
Bitcoin definitely needs marketing, and I think it has a marketing, but it's decentralized marketing. So it's like I think it needs marketing on every level, from mining to education, like marketing to political parties, on all different levels. It definitely needs marketing, but it doesn't need like a I don't know. Let's imagine like a association of top 100 influential companies that they would meet every quarter and decide, okay, what do we do how do we help promote Bitcoin this quarter? I'm not aware of any of that association, and I don't think we need it. That's the point. And so we don't have anything like that. We don't have any sort of association where we would be planning the big marketing move for Bitcoin the next quarter. But it's still happening. Like we see it everywhere. So we need marketing. We do have the marketing, but without the central planning.
Do you think all projects around Bitcoin could grow the same way Bitcoin does?
Okay, so the question is for free and open source projects, how well. That's a question. So let me talk about the mining part, because that's close to what we do. And we do have open source project in mining, for example, Stratum V2. So Stratum V2 is a next generation mining protocol, very fancy word for how the mining machines communicate with the pool. And it's mining grew a lot in the past decade, so we need new standard, new better technology, and it's an open source project because it's non-commercial. It has to be open source. So through that, I'm seeing, okay, how do we promote it? How do we get more traction? How do we make media to be interested in it? And again, I'm coming back to the incentives, how Bitcoin works, because we're putting together all the players that have their own incentive, like such as Brains. Like we're running a mining pool. So we want to have Stratum V2 because we will benefit from the project, even though it's free and open source. We'll benefit as a company. So I think what free and open source projects should do is identify better the key stakeholders, who benefit from it directly, and just put them together. And through that, you create the marketing momentum for the project. But I don't think we need, of course, there are great companies like Spiral is doing grants for free and open source, helping with marketing, etc. So we definitely need those. So very thankful to those companies and association, and to the donors, because there is a lot of support with actually people send the money to support those. So free and open source, definitely. We need the companies like Spiral, we need the grants, we need the help, we need the donors, but at the same time, the people running the open source project, they should really focus on putting the people and companies who benefit from that project together and working together to figure it out.
Since there's a lot of FUD around mining, do you think a strategy around it would be needed?
So yeah, mining has a lot of FUD because I think really the energy debate is the final boss of Bitcoin. Like when we bust the myths or like we're boiling the oceans, etc., we're not green, blah blah blah. When we bust that, I think that's the final big battle of Bitcoin that has to be solved, and we're really getting a lot done towards that. So the question was like, do we need strategy for that? The problem is that the debate is evolving all the time. So really, like 10 years ago, the main debate was, hey, Bitcoin is used for, I don't know, child pornography and terrorism. You know, a few years later, it was, I don't know, like the debate is constantly changing, and so whatever plan you make will not stand much. So you have to be adapting all the time. And really, I think the current thing is we just have to be focusing on how mining actually helps the energy grids, how it helps incentivize the build out of renewable energy sources, etc., etc. Yeah.
Would you adopt the same Bitcoin marketing strategy for mining?
Okay, let's do it this way. Like on the top level, like the really Bitcoin as a brand, that we definitely don't need marketing because everything around this is the marketing, including the price action, including the memes on Twitter. Everything is the decentralized marketing. But when you go down, like let's say adoption in a local community somewhere in El Salvador, on when you talk from my perspective, from my experience, for example, political lobbying in the United States or Texas, that has to be somehow more centralized and like planned and strategically planned. So like, I mean, the lower you go, the more specific goal you have. For example, we have to ensure that the miners are represented in the United States politics and the laws will not go against them. In that case, that's a very, very smart, like a precisely defined goal, and for that we definitely need strategically planned marketing. So for example, for miners, there's an association that all the miners put together, like hey, please, here are the funds, here is the goal, please represent us and educate the politicians that we're not boiling the oceans, we're helping to stabilize the Texas grid, for example. So when you have a very specific goal, I think you should like plan and strategize and do like a more of a centrally planned action plan. But on the top level, I think memes and actually the politicians, what they do with the inflation, they're doing all the work for us for the Bitcoin marketing, I think. So yeah, there's no better marketing than than the state's action, I would say. Yeah.
Do you think there's a lack of marketing professionals in Bitcoin companies?
100%, because there's so many things that you have to put together. So just from my own experience, Bitcoin is a rabbit hole. Then it's so from economics background to really technical background. Then mining is a very deep rabbit hole that is very, very technical. So just on my position, I had to combine like a little bit of understanding of the IT. So I was studying like half IT, half economics in my university. And that really, really helped me and then I had to become a Bitcoiner in order to go for the job. So, when you talk about like, it's very, very specific set of skills. And, as I say, we're very early in the market. So, like, it looks like, oh my God, Bitcoin is already so expensive. Like, no, we're in absolute beginning. So it's like Wild West. So we need more talent, more education, so that more people come and work for Bitcoin, so we can scale and build the projects. So my point to the listeners now: go work for Bitcoin. Really educate yourself and go for it, because we're missing talent everywhere. It's not just the developers and the engineers. It's like the business development people, marketing people, all that, we're so early in the game that there's not enough Bitcoiners. And by the way, there are a lot of Bitcoiners, but they're still not quitting their fiat jobs. So if you're listening now, we need you to quit your fiat job and go work for Bitcoin. I think that's the key. So 100% agree. We see it really every day. We have, I don't know, dozens of open job positions now, really ranging from administrative work through finance to engineering. And we struggle on all of them. It's not just like the IT people are missing. It's like all the people in Bitcoin are missing. Like we need more talent for sure. And that's the education and work around adoption and education. So thank you for your work.
Shitcoins are centralized and have big marketing teams. Why is Bitcoin still bigger?
I actually don't like that table of altcoins and Bitcoin because it implies it's something similar and we're like competing for number one. Really, as I see it, is because it's just the idea of, hey, here's a table of the top cryptocurrencies or digital assets, and there's like some number one and number two. As I see it, there's a fiat universe. And in that fiat universe, there's like a crypto digital tokens, but it's in the fiat realm. And then there's Bitcoin, but it's completely separate universe, like in a completely different dimension. So I actually don't like to see the table of like hey, here's Bitcoin and somebody VC backed token really thinks that they can overtake the number one. So that's how I see it. And I would leave it at that.
If there is one question you could ask Satoshi, what would it be?
I don't know, like, what's the first thing you say? You say, hi, how are you, right? So I guess, yeah, that would be it.
What do you like the most about Lugano so far?
The views. The views are insane. Like the how do you call it, the funicular, like the vehicle, like the tram that goes up the mountain, and then the views, that's amazing. And the second, my favorite thing is actually the drone show. So I was here last year. The drone show was amazing. So it's above the lake, and like that's the second my favorite thing in Lugano, I would say.
What do you think about Lugano becoming a Bitcoin adoption hub?
I think depends what you mean Bitcoin hub. So you mean for adoption and payments? That's already happening. I think that's you solve that, and we just need like more education to people, like that they will not be afraid to test it. But I think this is really, really important work, and we just need more education to like people outside Bitcoin, so they're not afraid to go and test it out. And I think like the actually paying and seeing it adopting in merchants is the way to go, and it's to make people believe, hey, it's not just funny and genuine money. It actually exists, and it's real, and it's tangible. Like it has value. It has usefulness because you can pay, etc. But just to be a devil's advocate and to say, because Bitcoin Hub can also mean, I don't know, attracting companies and talent and new project development, etc., etc. For that, I would say that Switzerland is very, very expensive. So you have a very, very big downside on that because, like, you know, we are Prague-based company, and hiring, I don't know, talent and IT resources engineering is way cheaper. So in that you have a bigger battle. Let's put it this way. Yeah.
Did you have the opportunity to buy something with Bitcoin in Lugano?
I was the normal pleb, mainstream pleb, so I went to buy a cheeseburger first in McDonald's. First thing I came in Lugano. I know that everybody did it, but at least I didn't put it on Twitter. But that was the first thing I did. Of course I did.
What other cities can learn from the Lugano Plan B experience?
It can be done, and it's happening now. Really, the thing is, it's happening now, like yesterday. I think we'll see the critical mass happening. So it's like a lot of the people, like the places or cities will see, hey, it works there, and it's attracting tourism. It's improving that. Like we see the numbers in El Salvador, what it did. I can imagine it's doing the same for the tourism in Lugano, for the visibility as a city in Switzerland, etc., etc. So it will, again, the free market will solve it like magnificently, I think. So everybody will look and say, hey, that thing happening there, it's actually works. Hey, maybe we should learn one or two things about Bitcoin and find out what it can do for us. So I think it's happening. It's beautiful, and again, free market will solve it. So the critical mass is happening. Yeah.
If you have to convince someone to go to Lugano, what will you tell them?
I was here the first Lugano conference, the Bitcoin conference. I'm on the second round. I'm coming for the third one. So you cannot miss on the Bitcoin conference in Lugano because it is really great. And in general, Lugano, of course, come here and buy the cheeseburger. Hey, everybody always told me, but what can you buy with Bitcoin? Hey, it's as simple as cheeseburger and McDonald's. It actually works and it can be done. So come and test it out for yourself.